We are back with another very unplanned live because I did a post a few days ago where I wrote a quote on Threads. And sometimes when these threads get a lot of comments and I reshare them on Instagram, then people want more information because these threads are super short paragraphs and they are always meant, like that's the nature of this app, is to write something and then you're going to have this whole conversation because of course people are going to interpret this one thread in a whole bunch of different ways. So I always like to let it happen and see what happens, what comments are posted, and then do a video with all of this information, with all these different comments that people gave me so that I can elaborate a little more. And what I said in this one specific thread was, whenever I read the term chosen ones in a spiritual post, I instantly unfollow, and that it's a huge red flag and a misunderstanding of your privilege to be awakened on this planet right now. So that was what I wrote. And why did I write this? Because I was scrolling in a few different Facebook groups, and the way that people use this specific term, chosen ones, they are really doing it to create more separation. They're doing it from a place of feeling betrayed by the planet, being detached, dissociated from the planet, and being very connected to everything that is going on up there. And I just posted a shorter video a while ago where I am saying that one of the most spiritual things that you could be doing right now is to be fully present in your body, to be fully connecting to the planet, to the spirituality of the planet, to the mysticism, mystery schools that have existed, are existing here on this planet right now, because all of them work with these star lineages. It is just not the focus. They are working with all these star ancestors and they are bringing them through in their mystery schools, almost every single one of them. So anyway, let me see what some of the people had to say about this quote, because of course you can immediately feel triggered by it or you can agree with it, but I feel that it is very good to look at some of these different comments. So somebody said, if I say a chosen person chooses themselves, basically, and one could be chosen if we choose it, and I choose me over everyone and everything. I choose to follow my highest self. I choose God. And I see what they're saying, but that is not the way that most people are using that term, the chosen one, being a chosen one. And then somebody else said, when using spirituality to separate yourself even further from your fellow human, then I feel we're probably having a whole different experience. Oh, that was me. I'm reading my own comment. Oops. But I wrote another comment underneath. But that's basically what I see when people say that. Then it is basically coming from a wound, from feeling abandoned, from not feeling like you belong on the planet. So then somebody else said, I heard the term recently, like comparing a star seed, chosen one, all these things, and I did a video on the term star seed a while ago. It said the star seed has much different childhood and is supported and loved, and the chosen one has to walk through the darkness. I feel like these are all just labels and more labels and more labels, more identities, more things that we can give ourselves, more badges of honor or whatever that we can give ourselves, when the whole purpose of a modern day mystery school such as an experience right now on this planet is to peel away all of these layers of identity and find the true essence of yourself again. And a star seed and all these things like star seed, chosen one, indigo child, they all mean the same thing. They are basically a person that is here, that is aware of the fact that they have a more spiritual mission than perhaps somebody else. But does that mean that they are more chosen than another person? Definitely not at all. They are all chosen by God, because God does not separate. So God is unity. God is not separation. That is my opinion on it. So, what else? Yeah, somebody here said we are all beloved in the heart of Source. And then somebody said, I felt the same until recently. Then I heard it said that the chosen ones are the ones who choose. And it was hugely empowering to adopt that and claim that. I still waver and am uncomfortable at times, but rather than sitting on the sidelines and believing I wasn't special enough to join the party, I think it is like an energy of, okay, let's do this. Not out of superiority, but out of knowing. And I think the claiming part is very important. So that was a very good explanation. I really liked that person's response. And that's why I want to do these lives about it. I want to elaborate more on these threads that I share. And you can find the original post on my Instagram, on my Threads account. And I can definitely see that is a good way of using that, but I still feel words are so important that there are better ways, better words for this. So if you have any suggestions, maybe we can just start a whole new dictionary and find something that does not have this inherent energy of separation. This word chosen, it's almost like, it's very, very much like in the school. Oh, you are chosen, you are not chosen. And I'm saying that because like when we had gym, like gymnastics, whatever, then we had to make teams. And I was never chosen because I was terrible at team sports. I'm really good at martial arts. I'm good at swimming. I'm good at dancing, but do not pick me for your basketball game or your whatever game, because it is not a good idea. And I'm gonna be like, don't choose me, please. You will lose. But anyway, so that's what that reminds me of, this whole chosen one thing. And then people that are on a spiritual journey, they're gonna be like, what is this? Am I one of these chosen ones or not? So that's the feeling I get with it. Somebody else said, that's how I feel when I see people call themselves healers. The most unhealed people often do this. I kind of agree with it, but I also feel that there is not going to be a single person on the planet that is 100% fully healed. We all have such collective trauma, galactic trauma, and we are living in very dense circumstances compared to our star families that have ascended, that are living in this ascended state, which we have done in other star systems. And now we are here, and we have just trauma from being on the planet, basically, and we have to start somewhere. The healing has to start somewhere. So I think as long as you are aware of what you are doing and you are responsible, and that again ties in with the responsibility of having these gifts, and I've talked about this in many videos, in blogs, the responsibility of having healing gifts, of having these gifts of being intuitive, is also knowing when you can help somebody and when you first need to be helping yourself. To what extent can you be there for another person? And I think it's a very individual thing that we all need to look at for ourselves. Somebody else said, I would probably unfollow as well if I couldn't be of service to them. I find myself in compassion for those who still struggle to that extent with their own egos. And the thing is, indeed, I get all these other comments that I saw, that I mentioned, but I definitely feel where I keep seeing these types of comments, it's in these groups where there's just a whole lot of conflict going on. You see there is a lot of wounding in the dialogue. that bleeds through the dialogue that people are having, and this chosen one label becomes a band-aid. It becomes a band-aid instead of going into the deeper wounds. Where are you feeling abandoned? Where are you not feeling chosen? Where are you not choosing yourself? Where are you dissociating from the planet, from your body, from your trauma? These things. So that is why I shared that post. So somebody else said, it is a privilege to be here at this time during the awakening. And it was all of us basically chosen, that were chosen, everyone on this earth at this time. And that is definitely how I feel. And if you've been following the podcasts and the videos that me and Ryan have been posting together, I will tag him in the video, in the description. We talk about a concept of consciousness cloning, and this is very controversial. I have not heard many other people talking about this. There are definitely, and so keep watching the podcasts if you have. If you haven't, go check them out, because this is something that is definitely going to start to come up in the months and years to come, where we are going to see how this has been going on, what this means for soul contracts, for soul families, for karma. And this does not mean that perhaps an original consciousness is any more chosen than a cloned consciousness, for instance, because we are all here doing this together. Somehow we are all here right now doing this together, and nothing is ever a coincidence in the eyes of Mother, Father, God. Nothing ever happens by accident. Even the person who you may perceive as being very unspiritual or 3D, and we use these terms, I use these terms, I'm a human being. We say these things because we have language that limits us too. We have limiting language that we have to use when it comes to identifying and communicating. And communication is a thing that we do to get closer to people. So sometimes accidentally, in trying to get closer to people, we actually separate ourselves through the language that we choose. So I can see how using terminology like this, chosen ones and all this, that it is meant to bring you closer to people that are like-minded, but how it can also separate you from a whole lot of people that you actually crave to be connected to, if that makes sense. So if you're watching this later on replay and you have good ideas, what words would be more fitting for this based on all the stuff that I've shared before, definitely write it in the comments. So let me see. Somebody else said, when I was in the Akashic Records, they were using that terminology, but they said the chosen ones were simply meant, they choose the ascension path and to be a light worker in this lifetime. It is not meant to be a hierarchical term exactly. And that's where I think definitely your individual filter plays a big role. When it comes to channeling, when it comes to Akashic Records reading, your individual filter is going to play a role, because when you are channeling, when you are tuning into non-physical realms, you're going to have to translate all of that information. It's going to come through the filter of your vocabulary. It's going to come through the filter of your education. And we see this in Dolores Cannon books, for example, that were recorded a few decades ago, where people in the 80s had a different type of consciousness or a different cultural background, and there was way less mention of divine feminine energies, for instance. And now you can see that with the consciousness rising, that we are able to access a lot more nuanced information because our vocabulary has also shifted. So we are going to be expressing spirit in a more nuanced way. So that is also happening, of course. Now, what else? People use it a lot on YouTube in video titles, and I cringe a little every time. What it does for me is immediately like that makes you think that it's not the content that you're interested in, and it saves this person time. And I definitely can see that, because a lot of, and you kind of have to do that almost. You're almost forced to use these clickbait titles when you post videos, when you post any type of spiritual content, because you want people to click on your videos. But if you are in tune with the message that you are bringing, then you can also work with the energy of the message that you are bringing. And you can also use this filter. You can fine tune like a laser this message that you are bringing, and you don't necessarily need to make videos for 100,000 followers or people, because are those going to be the people that are going to be ready for the frequency of your individual message anyway? And this is something that I work with individually with people in mentorship too, that are trying to start a more energetic spiritual business, that have this background of, oh, what words do I use? What do I do about marketing? It's all about energy and the right choice of words. And I can definitely see, yeah, they use these words, but then you also kind of see the consciousness immediately behind the intention of the person, the intention of the video, and not that they are trying to do any harm, but that they unintentionally may still hold this consciousness of, we need to reach as many people as possible, and not fully trusting that the video will find exactly those people that it needs to find. So that is something that you can also pay attention to. How do you feel when you read specific titles? So I think we are there. Oh no, there's more. Spiritual awakening and ascension is a matter of personal choice, not being chosen by someone higher. The only chosen scenario is that the higher vibrational non-physical beings find someone whose energy channel is clear and the gifts suitable to transmit or channel the energy and message from this higher being for the service to the world. Not everyone can be a suitable conduit to take up this role, but everyone has the free will to allow themselves going forward in the path of ascension. And that is probably the best comment. That was on Threads, I think. That was one of the best comments. That is a great way of putting it. And I think that we are almost there. So on the subject of ascension, when studying metaphysics, I learned the only way to ascend was by overcoming all of your karma, in that all the great masters had to go through this process. Hence the phrase, many are called, but very few are chosen. Everyone has the capacity to develop spiritual gifts, some more than others, but nonetheless, the capacity is still there. So that is why I wanted to share all of this with you, all of these comments, to elaborate more on this term, the chosen ones. So, and this was all very unplanned. I don't have good lighting. None of it matters. If you are only now joining this live, definitely go back to the beginning. And I asked some questions, so help me, give me feedback. And yeah, let me know your thoughts. What came up for you when watching this? What came up? What triggered you perhaps? Or what insights did you receive? And yeah, I definitely feel that we are collectively in this modern day mystery school. And that is more of a term that I resonate with, because in a way, we are all in this modern day mystery school, whether you are aware of it or not. So check out the video completely from the beginning if you are only joining now. And if you are interested in working with me in any way through Akashic Records work, Dragon work, intuitive sessions, check out my website or Linktree, and I will be back soon with more videos. Bye bye.